Okay, we're back with our live coverage of the CAIS conference here in Beverly Hills. And up next, and actually our final segment for just today, is Michael Nathanson, who is the CEO of Focus Financial Partners. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, Chuck.
Okay, so luckily we have a very nimble setup. We were inside, then they were talking, now we're moving outside, so we're going to be all over the place here. And I'm really excited to talk with you about what you guys have going on at Focus and also your views on goRIA. So we were talking a bit off camera, and we could just replay that for the actual audience now. What are the advantages of scale, and what are the pros and cons perhaps, or contrasting that with maybe more of a boutique environment?
Yeah, and thank you for the question, and I think Focus offers a perfect ecosystem to answer both of those questions, because Focus has a scaled part of its business, which we call Focus Partners, and a boutique part of its business, which we call our Focus Network. Here's what I would say to you about scale. Let's first just step back and just very quickly say that scale isn't just about size. Size is important for scale, but scale also requires a level of integration, a level of coordination, a level of working together to do more together than anyone could do on their own. Only when you have all of that do you have scale. It's not enough to just be large. But the power of scale is felt by all the stakeholders of Focus, and I think from other scaled companies as well. You think first, of course, about clients. Why is scale good for clients? Well, scale is good for clients because they can get better services, they can get more specialized services. People talk a lot about client segmentation. We think about segmentation not just in terms of the size of the client, which is a traditional way of thinking about it, but also the type of client. What are their specific needs? Are they a professional? Are they a business owner? Are they a corporate executive? Are they a professional athlete? They all have different needs, and they deserve a team that's focused on their specific needs. That comes with scale. I also think about scale as offering better technology, a better technology delivery for clients, as well as, of course, for team members. More capabilities that go beyond pure asset management and wealth management and financial planning, that can include the full array of estate planning, tax services, bookkeeping, bill pay services, concierge services, all the things that a client might want. That, again, comes with scale. I also think about the talent. Clients, of course, deserve to have the best possible talent, and I think that with scale we have the opportunity to attract and engage, develop, and retain the best talent. And then there's the question of durability and sustainability, what I call enterprise. Scale, as applied to a company that is built to last for 100 years, I call that kind of company an enterprise. And what scale does is it allows clients to know that they're served by, of course, their advisor, but that there's a team behind the advisor. And that when that advisor ultimately retires, there will be others there for them and for their children. I think about the other stakeholders. I think about team members. And being part of a scaled organization usually means you have an opportunity to participate in, for example, equity, to have good compensation, good benefits, all the things that are necessary to, again, to attract and retain top talent, better support so the advisor can focus specifically on what the advisor wants to focus on, and other specialists, including business specialists, can fill in the gaps that the advisor might otherwise have to play. And then I think about just the company and the communities that the company serves. And scale means that this is a company that's got great reach, that's got durability, that can have maximum impact while also sustaining itself through a good economic model. But then there's the boutique model. I'm here talking to you about the power of scale because it's something that we very much believe in, and yet we also do believe that you can do great things for client in a boutique kind of setting as well. And Focus is proud to own several boutique advisory firms, some of them larger, some of them smaller. They're all doing great things for clients. But as we think about boutiques, and as I reflect on the boutique model, I still want that boutique model to be able to do everything a client might need and offer its talent, everything the talent needs, and offer that same kind of experience. And how can that happen? Well, the answer is that it's very much possible to operate as a boutique, but to operate as part of an ecosystem, to understand that you can have business partners all around you, and this is very much the focus model, where we can support that boutique kind of approach and offer things that you might not get on your own as a company. By doing that, allow the firm to operate in a boutique model and still have the capabilities and the sustainability that can come with scale. So I think you can do it both ways, but I think one way or another, it's better to think not just about being an independent advisor, but also to be an independent and interdependent advisor.
Okay.
That is, I think that ultimately we do better when we work with others, and I think our clients ultimately benefit from that as well.
All right, so it kind of sounds like the best of both worlds, right? You can either plug in fully or I guess plug into the interdependency perhaps, which I think is a really interesting way to look at that as a boutique. What would you categorize a boutique? Like just in ballpark terms, what's sort of the AUM range you're talking about there?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that question, and I'm also going to tell you that I always try to think about a company, not just when people ask me about focus, I very rarely lead with AUM because I think that what that does is it doesn't do enough to recognize the team members. So I like to talk about how many team members we have first, because it's all about that first. So I would say that to answer your question, I would say that a boutique is probably anything with sort of $10 billion or less. I think you can still operate in a larger company and still operate that way. But I think that ultimately 10 billion or less, and you're typically talking about having, maybe 100 people or fewer. So it's a blurred line, but that's the way I would describe it. And again, I would just say that some of these companies would tell you, and they will tell their clients, yeah, but they partner with other organizations as well. So again, I think one thing that's great about this business is there are a lot of ways to be successful, a lot of ways to do great things for clients if you care deeply about your clients. And yeah, so and that's really very much our model at Focus.
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time. There's a lot of different ways to goRIA, and as I like to say, there's not like the best way, but there's the best way for you to do it. Right? So it's going to be different for every single person. And as we're coming up on time here, Michael, what advice would you give to someone in the audience? Maybe they're at a broker dealer, maybe they're at a wirehouse, and they are looking to goRIA. What would you say to that advisor?
Yeah, I would say think about what you believe is best for your clients. That should be all of our North Star. Whatever is best for clients, I think you should do what's best for clients. Look, I want to be clear. I think someone who's at a brokerage or a wirehouse or a bank can do wonderful things for clients if they truly are focused on what's best for clients. I will say that I'm biased, but I believe that the independent advice space is growing faster than these other vehicles. For a reason, and I think it's because it's about the fiduciary standard,
yes,
but it's also a recognition, that this part of our business is deeply focused on the client. This part of our business is perhaps a bit less conflicted. This part of our business is more intensively built around client service, and not with lots of other ancillary aspects that you see in, for example, the banks or the brokerages. And again, I don't mean to in any way say anything negative about those ways of doing business. But keep in mind, though, that there is a difference between being an advisor and being a salesperson. And I think ultimately, the more we are advisors, and let other people do the sales and marketing, I think the more the client benefits. And that's what the RIA space is really all about, and that's what it's been about since inception. And that's why it's growing as well as it's growing.
Without question. Well, I tell you what, Michael, that's a great place to put a pin in it for today, so thanks a lot for joining us.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, so that's going to wrap up coverage for today. I'll be back first thing tomorrow morning, Pacific time, of course. We're in Los Angeles, and we're going to have another 4 or 5 more segments, so stay tuned for that. But for today, on behalf of goRIA, fueled by Investment News, I'm Chuck Fala, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and Michael, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
That's it.